የመንካት ምልክት እያሳየ መሆኑን ጠቁሟል የተባለው። ይህ በእንዲህ እንዳለ በአማራ ክልል የኦሮሚያ ልዩ ዞን ከሚሴ ጨፌ ሮቢት ላይ በጅምላ ንጹሃን ኦሮሞዎችን ሰብስበው የረሸኑ የዘመቻ ምኒልክ ጦረኛ የአማራ ልዩ ኃይል ፋኖና ሚሊሻ እንዲሁም ምድር አርቲስት የግፍ ወንጀልን ቢቢሲ በሰራው ሪያሊቲ ቼክ ላይ አጋልጧቸዋል። ተመልከቱት።
My brother lived in Kamise with his wife and children. When government forces came, they went door to door collecting information. They arrested him and later they took me too. My brother was taken to a military base nearby and held with many others. After 2 days, they were put on truck, taken away and all killed.
Witness testimony and video footage reveal the brutality of the conflict in Ethiopia. Its government has been fighting insurgent groups seeking greater autonomy on multiple fronts for decades. There have been many allegations of war crimes committed and denied by all sides. Talks to end the latest civil war, which started in 2020, have ended with hope for peace. Strict restrictions on journalists prevented reporting on the conflict, so analyzing evidence shared online exposes the atrocities that have taken place. We have looked at one of these events, which took place last December, but was only posted online many months later. Ethiopia's federal forces and their allies had just achieved a military victory in Amhara state. An alliance of the Tigray People's Liberation Front from the north and the Oromo Liberation Army, a rebel group from the south, had been pushed out of this area. Men from the local minority Oromo community in this part of Amhara were rounded up and detained.
Months later, I went to the place where he was killed. I could not find his body, but I found his clothes. It was there I watched a video of bodies and recognized my brother. That's how I knew what happened.
According to locals, these bodies were not allowed to be buried, as a warning to others. They say some were dragged off by wild animals. So, where did this happen? Who were the victims? And who are the perpetrators? Oromo activists abroad posted these videos online. In this one, showing the mass graves, a hill line, distinctive shrubbery, the flat bank of a dry gully, and a telephone mast are clearly visible. All the key elements of the video of the shootings match with those of the aftermath images. Stitching together frames from the videos to build up a landscape, we were able to pinpoint the location. The roadside can be precisely located to an area named by local residents near a town called Shefarobit. Multiple sources told us the Oromo men were held at a military base in Kemise, and we were able to identify the only route the truck carrying the detainees could have taken. One source was willing to talk to us anonymously, a government official. They provided us with an unpublished list of 30 names of the dead, all ethnic Oromo men. We have not been able to verify them all, but we were able to contact some of the family members. Most were too scared to talk, but not all.
Families who lost relatives in that place have tried to mourn, but they were prevented, beaten and imprisoned. My parents were afraid the same would happen to us, but I insisted. I will not hide my brother's death. I will mourn him in public. I swear to God, my brother and those men were only killed because of their ethnicity. My brother was not involved with the Oromo fighters. He did nothing wrong.
We know federal government forces had recently taken control of the area we have identified. We also know that these forces were supported by Amhara regional government troops and a local Amhara militia group known as the Fano. We have isolated the faces of 5 of those involved in the killings. There are men wearing the black and red headscarves clearly complicit in the executions. They are speaking Amharic, one of Ethiopia's official languages. There's writing on the black headgear clearly identifiable as that worn by some members of pro-government forces, including the Fano militia. Others in the video are also complicit in the killings. Their camouflage uniforms closely match those worn by Amhara regional government troops, known locally as special forces. We were given names of those allegedly involved in the killings, but could not verify them. What we can identify are the names shouted out in the video itself. Kasu, Abebe, Belete, and finally Andie, the man behind the camera. We have spent weeks trying to match these names and faces with social media accounts and through other videos posted online. But poor quality footage and blurry faces make facial recognition harder, so we have been unable to independently identify the individuals responsible for the killings. Our investigation aligns with findings by the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, a body set up by the government. It examined video of the graves and gathered witness testimony and concluded that the evidence pointed to the killings having been carried out by soldiers from the country's armed forces and their militia allies. And it has called on the government to hold credible investigations into the killings and to hold the perpetrators to account. We have asked the Ethiopian authorities whether they intend to carry out an investigation as requested by the Human Rights Commission. We have had no response. And as far as we are aware, no arrests or prosecutions have yet been made.
Subscribe ያርጉ።